Hey, thanks for tuning into the video today. So I want to start off by talking about Social Security. Oftentimes, we're asked, when should I start Social Security? So interesting enough, there's so many different options. There's so many different things that you really need to consider when you talk about Social Security planning. Number one, you should first know that you can start Social Security as early as age 62, but you also have the ability to delay that all the way to age 70. So the question is, when do you start Social Security, right? Well, number one, it depends, right? I hate to answer a question with a question, but it really takes a deeper dive in order to really determine what is best for you. The first thing you got to consider is, are you married, right? Your marital status is an important part of the decision-making process. Why is it important? Because if you're single, your Social Security obviously is just based on your own personal life. But if there's a spouse involved, it becomes a bigger issue. Because the idea is that depending on the work history of each of the spouses determines whether one's Social Security is going to be higher than the other. One thing you always need to keep into consideration that if a spouse would pass away, the lower of the two Social Security simply goes away. So oftentimes it makes sense to maximize the higher of the two Social Security, and the way to do that is by delaying the decision. So that's first and foremost. Second is life expectancy. Obviously, we know nobody gets out of here alive, right? So the idea being is that how long do you think you're going to live? And that's always the million-dollar question. Nobody knows how long they're going to live. So how do you even start to think about that subject? So first and foremost, if you're getting close to Social Security age and you're trying to make this determination when to take Social Security, first thing you got to say, okay, what does my health look like at this particular point in my life? Am I pretty healthy? What about my family history? What about my mother, my father? How long are they still living, or do they have a long life expectancy? What does that look like? That will help you to determine when you take Social Security. The longer you think you're going to live, it might make sense to delay that decision so you can get a higher benefit. So that's something also to consider before you make that final decision. The third is your retirement assets. What other assets do you have to support your income when you decide to retire? For example, if your goal is to retire at age 62 and you have a lot of retirement assets, you might be in a position that you can delay that decision. Right? So instead of taking it at 62, you can delay it maybe to a little bit later in life, right? So most folks' full retirement age is age 66 or 67, right? This is like the optimum time when you want to take Social Security, right? And as you delay this, the number just tends to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So if you have the retirement assets to support you delaying it, you're basically going to get an increase in that benefit over time. So that's another factor to consideration. So we talked about three things so far: your marital status, your life expectancy, and then the retirement assets in which that you have, okay? Number four is your need for income, right? So what is the need for income? Income comes in two different forms: your needs and your wants, right? Your needs are the money which you need each and every month just to support your lifestyle, right? The idea, you got to put a roof over your head, you got to pay your utilities, you got to pay your insurance, you got to pay your taxes. You know you have to have that money coming in each and every month. The second is your lifestyle, all the things on your bucket list, all the things that you want to do, whether you want to travel the globe, spend time with your grandkids, play a lot of golf, go back to school, whatever that aspiration is that you have, it takes income. Right? So knowing what your number is a very important factor in determining when you might want to start Social Security. The next is your desired standard of living. That's that bucket list stuff I was talking about, right? If you're really a high standard of living and you want to spend a lot of money, especially during your go-go years of your life, when people first retire, we often call that your go-go years, right? So in that go-go years could be a 10-year period, a 15-year period. People tend to spend more money during that period of time. So depending on what that looks like, that also is a major factor in determining when you might want to take Social Security. The last one is continuing to work, right? So if you're going to continue to work, and let's say your goal was to retire at 62 and you're going to continue to work, you're disincentivized to start Social Security between 62 and 66 if you're going to continue to work. There's limits on the income in which that you can earn. If you earn too much income, you're going to give back some of your Social Security benefit. So you're really disincentivized to continue to work and take Social Security at the same time. Once you hit your full retirement age, however, and you continue to work, you don't have that disincentive to continue to work and take Social Security. So you have to think through that. You don't want to give back any of your Social Security benefit if you don't have to, right? You work too hard to get to this point. You put a lot of money into the system. You want to maximize that benefit. So continuing to work could really have a negative impact on taking Social Security too early. So these are some key areas in which that you should consider when you talk about taking Social Security, right? So the key to this is to make sure you think through all these different areas before making that decision. Once you answer all those questions, you're in a much better position to make that decision. That decision becomes much more clearer, so you're in a better position to say, hey, I'm ready to go. Again, thanks for tuning into the video. Really appreciate the time. Simply like, follow, or share if you really enjoyed the video. Appreciate it. We'll see you next time.